DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I'm your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Breakfast Bankroll for Tuesday, December 6, 2022. I'm smiling ear to ear because good friend reached out to me and says, "Hey, JD, we haven't done a bankroll in a while. How about it?" And when I get the opportunity to bring someone that I can call a good friend, family, onto the show, whether it's 45 minutes or whether it's 2 hours and 45 minutes, I clear the desk. So without further ado, the real Vegas Dave, that's correct, the one and only sportsbook consigliere, Mr. Dave Sharapan.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Good morning, sir.
I had no idea you became the sports broker while I was gone here on all this stuff. You got these fancy graphics and an opening like your Tony Soprano and stuff. I'm impressed. I had no idea all this was going on, but it's good to be here.
See, it's been so long, you throw out some information, you reach out to a guy in Vegas, says, "Hey, this is what I'm looking for," and I come back looking like Tony Soprano.
I'm impressed. I mean, you went on that trip to the Caribbean. You haven't been the same since, so that's good. I don't know what you picked up down there or what you found, but you still go into the tanning bed. I see. That's good. That's good to know.
Listen, I still have it. We're hanging tight. It's not the bright lights here of Cape Cod. I think we're at about 50 degrees today, so probably hanging. We're not like whatever 52 or 57. What's your high today? 70?
I hope it gets to 60 today. It was 34 last night. 65 in this house. So little cold here in Vegas. December, it's a little chilly.
Just throw on another whoopee and you'll be fine. How's
right?
that?
Yeah.
Listen, I got a million things to throw at you today.
Okay.
We just had Julian.
I'm going to throw them back at you, just so you know. We're playing tennis today.
Ping pong or tennis?
Playing
That's
tennis.
good.
That's
it was
fun.
a little serve and volley.
Yeah.
We had Julian on. We talked some Final Four.
How's Jules? What's up with Jules? What did he say? Anything good?
Jules always brings fire. I mean, now he has 2 children, and I asked him how life is, and you know how it is. Early stages, that second child. I know. Sleep is not an option. So Jules is doing great.
No crying. He can't cry though. I mean, there's enough crying going on in the house with them 2 little babies. So no crying for Jules.
He's probably chomping at the bit for a Vegas, nice dinner upstairs at the Circa, and we'll take full advantage next time we all meet in Vegas. How's that?
That's fine. Hopefully he calls us. He left us hanging that time still at the book. We're still waiting for him to call us.
We're still waiting, Jules.
Still waiting, Julian.
I throw out the word prime time. Prime time. Deion Sanders, you and I remember him, high stepping down the sidelines, doing the dance. I say other than Billy White Shoes Johnson, who started it in my eyes, Primetime took it to another level. All these guys trying to choreograph their dances, they have no idea what really went on back in the day. Deion always betting on himself. I listened to him on TikTok. Just amazing. Goes to Jackson State. 3 years, 27-5, I think it is, unless I mix it up, 25-7. An opportunity, the Pac-12 comes knocking, in comes Colorado, and he's now off to the Pac-12, which I don't think people are talking enough about is the fact that Pac-12's losing UCLA and USC,
Right.
and now in comes prime time with Lincoln Riley. I'm hearing some negativity that he used Jackson State for the next job, yada yada yada. What's your thoughts on all this BS?
Well, I mean, I'm not qualified enough to even have thoughts on it. But, you see what a guy does. There's always haters. Everything we do, in life. So, of course, he's going to get backlash. Of course, he did use the job to get another job. He's using the Colorado job to get another job. You think Colorado's his final destination? There's no way in hell Colorado's his final destination. He's taking that job, but he's going to take it somewhere else. The problem, not a problem, it's just the steps in life. You can't get to the top step without going up the bottom steps, right? You can't be a tree without being an acorn first and getting the dirt thrown on you. We had a very wise man tell us that about life as well, you and I. So it's the steps to the process. And it's not like he's not helping people along the way. Now, there's people that don't like that. There's people that want you to just stay where you're at. And those people are content in life staying where they're at. There's other people that want to move and want to go and want to do things. At some point, you reach a point where you're good. Deion's never reached that point. Now, in his own self-admissions, he's failed at marriage multiple times. He's been selfish as could be multiple times. He said it, as good as he is at what he did, he had to do it in 5 different places. There wasn't one team or 2 teams that thought, we like this guy, we're going to keep this guy. He had to go to 5 different teams to keep doing what he did. Play 2 different sports for multiple teams. Not everybody's going to like what you do. That's just a lesson in life. I enjoyed watching him play. I enjoy listening to him talk. But, like everyone, some things he's going to say you like, some things he's going to say you don't. It's just fact. Going in and telling guys that committed their lives to going to school at a place, well, I'm coming. I'm bringing my baggage, and it's Louis. Not everybody's excited to see Deion. So you gotta always, just like in the book, you gotta see both sides of the story.
I remember, and I might be mixing this up, but I remember him playing for the Braves on a Sunday, finishing that game and jumping in a helicopter to go play a football game, or vice versa. I think it was to go play a football game.
I think it was football first and then to go play baseball. I was in Pittsburgh, actually. He was playing the Pirates in the second game. And actually, I was an intern at a TV station, and we covered him. And I was at the game. I was not that specific game, but it was another game where he ran a triple out of the box. And I turned to the guy I was with, and I said, I've never seen somebody run that fast in my life. He ran from first to home to third so fast. And I was like, wow, that was so impressive. And then, little secret story is I sold him a Sony Discman. Him, Eric Davis, and Barry Larkin walked into our store, my dad's store, our family store. Came in, midweek trip. They were on the Reds, and they came in shopping. No one in the store knew who they were except me. I was 21 or 22 years old. And I was like, these guys are coming in. Wonder what they want. And they came up to the counter and asked a couple questions. I sold them each a Sony Discman. Big deal. It was like $299 for that thing. The anti-skip people. You didn't used to just get music on your phone. You used to have to buy discs, put it in this big thing called a Sony Discman, have big headphones or little headphones to listen to it. It was a lot of work. But I sold them all the headphones, and they couldn't have been nicer. And like after 2 questions, they knew I knew what I was talking about. I respected them for who they were, and they were going to spend a significant amount of money. I made a big sale. I was excited, over $1,000 with the headphones and all this stuff. I go back and tell my dad, hey, Dad, prime time. Barry Larkin and Eric Davis just bought Walkmans. He's like, oh, yeah, really? I said, yeah. He goes, did they pay cash? I said, yeah. He goes, oh, good. Go back out to work. Just like that. He didn't care then. It's just so funny. Dion's making waves. It's a good thing. Ultimately, it's a good thing. It's shaking up the coaching community, which people don't like. You got to be careful.
Well, his next step, then obviously it's not going to happen in the next year or two. I mean, people have actually little rumblings that Dion eventually could coach in the NFL. I think he's light years away from that, but I think his final
Do you think he wants to coach in the NFL?
No. I think his final destination would be Florida State, to go back to Florida State.
Maybe if he really loves it there, that's it. But I think it's a Division I school that he has some sort of tie or purpose to. And obviously him going to Florida State, that's the obvious answer. But I don't think I mean, without asking him, I'd love to ask him if we can get him on a breakfast bankroll, get him. Let's talk to Dion. I don't think his ultimate goal is to coach in the NFL. I think his ultimate goal is to coach in college football, at least for now. You know, a lot of people are accusing him of being daddy ball and having his kid play quarterback. I mean, it is what it is. He's gonna, earn that right. If his kid plays, his kid plays. You can count on that Dion's going to do what's best for one, for Dion, but two, for the team to win. And if that means, whoever's playing quarterback's playing quarterback.
Dave, I always say 20 plus years in the business, in the risk rooms, in the trenches. You've seen it all. You've lived it all. You know my story or stories. I've seen it all. There's nothing we haven't seen, lived through, heard, yada, yada, yada. The Final Four comes out on Sunday. We're waiting for the numbers to come out. And, of course, me being me, I'm like, all right, I got Michigan around that 8.5, 9.5 number. And then my first inkling was, do they want Georgia money or do they want Ohio State money? We know the key number is 7. Do they open it at 7.5 or 6.5? Some shop 6. Without being in those risk rooms, surprised that Georgia only opened up 6 against Ohio State?
No, not at all. No, listen, they've been wrong on Ohio State for all season. There's a great difference of opinion. We had Chris Andrews on yesterday on Bostonian versus the Book. He said it best. Everybody has an opinion. That's why it's gambling. Everybody has a different number. If we all had the same number, there would be no gambling. So we need to think differently. I'm not surprised by it at all. In the SEC thumpers, they think it should be higher. Georgia should be 10 over Ohio State. The Ohio State backers think it should be pick. You settle on somewhere in between where you want to take bets and where you want to move the line to. The Michigan TCU thing is interesting. There's people that are going today, and saying that Alabama should still be in the playoff because they would be favored. They got 2 losses. That's one more than everybody else. Oh, but they this. Oh, but they that. But what? They're out. So no, I'm not surprised by either one. I mean, we were trading texts, me and the guys that are actually in the room, and you get the send outs and all this other shit. And sorry, are we allowed to swear?
Yes, you can. You're
okay,
fine.
right. I just want to make sure. I don't know if you changed that rule too. I didn't know.
We got Kiefer here with the button. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, if you guys are cutting commercials and stuff, I don't want to. I don't want to get caught up in it. Send outs were 7 and 10. I was making the arguments, with the guys that are in the rooms. I said 7 for Georgia and 10 for Michigan. Who's going to bet TCU? Try to get the TCU money now and let them bring the line down. That's exactly what's happening. There's places that are 7.5, 8. I mean, it's not it's unique because these lines are up for a month, and they'll be some of the biggest handle games you'll do all year long, all year long. So, um, I think, were you surprised?
People remember what they saw last. Ohio
Right?
State had the opportunity, 9-point favorites against Michigan, to take care of business at home. Good first half. Listen, they got their heart ripped out of them in the second half. And in the fourth quarter, I'll be honest with you, I thought they quit. They gave up 2 monster touchdowns. They got beat by 20 something at home.
Right?
They got a second lease of life. If you go back last year, Dave, to the SEC championship game, it was an undefeated Georgia team versus a one-loss Alabama team. And I said this before the whole week. Georgia's already in. Win, lose, or draw, they're already in. They're not going to open up their playbook. It was a sense of urgency on the Bama side to win and get in. And then we saw Georgia and Bama meet up again, and Georgia opened up the playbook. The rest was history.
Right.
Georgia is physical. They're more physical probably than Michigan. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. Their offense is a lot better than I thought it was going to be this year. And they got a defense that they lost 10 guys last year that they reload. That's all they do. But Ohio State has the offensive weapons. If you want to go man to man, these guys can beat you and they can burn you. So it's one of these where I was going to flip the script on you. Instead of trying to get these individual games, I'm going to ask you the question. You got Georgia minus 130. You got Michigan plus 260.
Mhm.
Ohio State plus 400. TCU plus 1,600. I hand you $1,000. Where you putting it?
Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah. You? I mean, that's what the parlay pays. Georgia's minus 6.5, and they'll be this or higher against Michigan. Georgia, TCU will be, I don't even know how high you'd have to make the line to get TCU money. So the money line parlay, if you just take it and bet the money line and go Georgia now and just roll it over, it pays about 135. So if you can find 130, that's good.
Here's the fly in the ointment. Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State look ahead lines -3.
Right.
So if you like Ohio State plus the 6 against Georgia and whatever they are on the money line this week, you're getting a 4-1 and a favorite 3 against Michigan. There'll be 2 touchdowns against TCU.
Well, I don't think there'll be 3 touchdowns.
No, I said 2. 13. They'll open them up 13.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you think Ohio State's going to win, just bet them on the money line. Bet them on the money line.
Okay.
I mean, you have to figure out what the money line parlay will pay, but I don't know if plus 400 is enough. It might be a little short if you bet it. You just roll it over. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and a lot of people are talking about it, and not a lot of people are betting it. Like, that's the best part about it. Like, you put these things up, and the media loves to talk about it, and they talk about the sharp money and the wise guys and all this other stuff, and nobody's betting it. It's just the lines are sitting. So, who wants to bet a game and sit for 3 weeks with it in their account, staring at it, going, yeah, I got a good number. Take that CLV and put it in your back pocket. That'll get you. It's good. You always want to get the best number. There's no doubt about that. But we'll see. We'll see where this thing goes. I can't wait to watch. I think it would be fun for one of the dogs to win the game. And I don't mean the Bulldogs. I mean one of the underdogs in the game, Ohio State or TCU. I don't think either one will, though.
Yeah, and no one's talking. Michigan was there last year, and hats off to Team Khaki and Harbaugh, because they didn't just say live on last year's laurels. They said, no, we got we got work to do here. We were there last year. We're getting back there. And I don't think that team has got enough credit to really look and see how dominant. I mean, you're a Big Ten guy. You're a Penn State guy. How dominant and much of a statement. I mean, the final Ohio State, but leading up to the Ohio State game, they've been dominant this year.
Oh, they've been very good on both sides of the ball. Defensively, super impressive. You really can't run the ball against them, which changes everything. As soon as you cannot run the ball in football, the game changes, and they get a lead. They're able to keep it rolling, keep piling it on. It was funny that the Big Ten championship game against Purdue was a 1-point game at halftime, and they ended up covering. Now, it was maybe a gift, maybe it wasn't. People talk about the right side, the wrong side. Purdue was never going to win that game. They had every opportunity to let down because you said Georgia was playing in the SEC championship and had nothing to lose and was probably in. That's right. They put up 50 against LSU. They covered their spread. Michigan, 17-point favorite, probably in, even with a loss. Covers the spread. It's a good football team.
We have Mr. PB that wants to know what's up with the Ram hat.
Mr. PB is a big fan of the show and the Twitter, and I'm glad he's watching this. What's up with the Rams hat? It was the closest thing to the chair, and so I wore the Rams sweatshirt. Picked this thing up. I forget who the Rams playing this week. You remember?
No, I don't. I know they got to be a dog against someone.
Thursday night.
Oh, against the Raiders, who are 6-point favorites. All of a sudden, the alive Raiders.
Yeah. The blue makes my eyes pop too. So that's why I wore the Rams hat. I figured I was coming on your show. I figured I'd wear something blue. Monday or Thursday night, the Raiders are 6-point favorites. 6. How about that, sports broker? What do you think about that, JD?
Are they peaking? Because they got the Pats the following week. Who got flexed out? It's the first time in the history in the last 2 decades that a Patriots team has been flexed out instead of flexed
Wait,
in.
that game is not Sunday Night Football?
No, it is not. It is the paint dry rematch, Giants and Commanders. That's what they flexed it to.
Wow. Really?
Yes.
This is confirmed? This is breaking news to me.
Confirmed.
Wow. Boy, Matt's going to really be upset today when I give him that one. They flexed the Patriots out.
They flexed them. You're out.
They flexed Vegas out. Oh, I can't believe I cannot believe that the Raiders are favored by 6, even though the Rams are done. Stafford's done. Cooper Kupp done. All of this done. Seems like a lot to ask the Raiders to go on a short flight over to LA and cover 6. Just thinking out loud. That's all.
And I don't want to make this an NFL talk show today, especially when I have you on here. We were actually talking on the phone when TB12 pulls another miracle out of his you-know-what, down 2 scores, game's over, and miraculously score 1, hold them, and they scored penalty, and he scores again on the second to last play. They have life. They're going to win the division. It's going to be funny where Tom's going to be on the road against one of these stacked teams, and they're going to say, oh, shit, here we go again.
I don't even want to think about it. Who they playing this week? I don't even look yet.
They're here we go. They're 3.5-point dogs at the 49ers with Brock or whatever his
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy.
the last man drafted in the draft, they call him Mr. Irrelevant. He was that guy. Well, now he's very relevant because they got to find somebody to back him up in case he gets hurt. They called me. I can't throw it deep anymore. I can't do it. They called you. You're done. You don't move your feet like that. You can't take any more hits. All right. So me and you are out. All right. I don't know who they're going to get to be the backup quarterback. Josh Johnson is what I heard. If they don't get him, maybe they get what's the guy's name from Carolina that just got cut?
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield. Yeah. They're going to get Baker Mayfield. They're not bringing in a guy to start. There's nobody available to start. This team is the second or third choice to win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl. They're not bringing in a starter now. They got Brock Purdy. That's fine. I don't know. I just Tampa just I feel, and again, just me. I feel like we're seeing a redo of the Pittsburgh Steelers last year with Roethlisberger somehow looking terrible for stretches at a time. And then somehow the Steelers pulling games out of their ass to get to the playoffs, to know that whatever matchup they had at a certain point, they were going to get crushed. I feel like Tampa's doing it right now. You feel like the magician still got the tricks, and he can do one or two. He just can't do a whole show no more. You know, he can't do a whole hour show. But if he pulls some kids around and he can do a couple magic tricks for 15 minutes, it's great. And I feel like that's what Brady's doing right now, and that's what Tampa's doing. It's complete fool's gold. They're going to win one game. If they get a home game, right, Washington gets in, has to go down there. The Giants maybe get in, have to go down there. Road favorites, short Tom Brady, dog at home. Come on. They'll win.
Dave, if they have to travel to Washington, which when they won the Super Bowl, they were 11-point favorites against the first-time starter Taylor Heineke. If they got to travel to the Giants, the whole world's on Tom Brady. There is no way. They couldn't set a number where they'd be taking the home dog.
Oh,
I'm going to give you a conspiracy theory. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm going to give it to you. Then we're going to move on here.
all right.
Indianapolis Colts done. Their last stand, they allow a 50 burger to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Matt Ryan project's not working. Obviously, before Saturday stepped in, they had already said, Matt, I don't care if you're hurt or not hurt. You're done for the year. We want to see what we're getting from Ellinger or whoever else is back there. This is never going to happen, but I'm just throwing it out here on the show. Mr. Shanahan worked with Mr. Ryan in Atlanta.
Oh,
now,
no. What are you saying?
Is there ever a possibility where you could make a phone call, says, hey, your season's done. You don't want to pay this guy anymore. You're not bringing him back next year. Like Baker Mayfield got released yesterday. Any possibility you could just release Matt Ryan, wink, wink? And we're waiting. I don't think anyone would let him get all the way in the waiver wire chains to the 49ers. But wouldn't that be something?
What?
I'm just throwing it out there.
That Matt Ryan goes to San Francisco to play or just to be the backup?
No, he would end up eventually be playing. You need someone that can not make mistakes. Veteran
Matt
leadership.
Ryan's doing nothing but making mistakes, JD. Did you see the game on Sunday?
My point is he's worked with Shanahan. Listen, Brock had a great first week.
What are you talking about?
I'm just throwing it out there.
This is why you're the sports broker on doing shows on the Breakfast Bankroll and not in the GM office of a team. There is no way I want Matt Ryan running that ship. Listen, you know what we need right now in San Francisco? We don't have Jimmy G, but it was Jimmy G. What was Jimmy G? You said this term to me. I've said it back to you. I've heard it used all over media. He's a game manager.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we need, baby. Brock Purdy, be the game manager. Don't turn the ball over. We'll go get it for you on defense. We'll play good special teams. Robbie Gould, what is he, 42? He's still kicking, making kicks. San Francisco's doing it with like old timers. You know, they're mixing some young guys too, but they got great weapons. They got a nasty defense. They can take that show on the road. I think San Francisco's fine. Don't put a no Matt Ryan in there. Man, if you're right about that, forget about the clips. We'll just go right to the top with that one. Matt Ryan gets cut and ends up in San Francisco? I didn't see that one coming when you asked me to be on the show today. Damn.
Hot stove.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Love it.
MLB contributor content on the show, on the field numerous times. I am so jealous when you're on MLB. I don't miss a show there. Trey Turner, it was funny. I was here in 10 for 300, so he was going to average 30. Phillies sneak in an extra year. It doesn't look as bad. I think 27.5, 11 for 300. The Mets, TJ, your Mets now have $90+ million a year tied up on two guys that pitched with Whitey Grove. Okay. Lefty Grove.
Kids, that's for your reference. You got to Google that. That was a pitcher back in the day, Lefty Grove. Go ahead, sir.
I just listen. You let DeGrom go. All right, I see the Verlander, but you pair Verlander with Max now. God bless you. Good luck. You needed some hitting. All right, we got Judge out there. Number one, we still have Judge. We have three shortstops out there now with Correa, Dansby, and my guy Xander. Give us the Dave Sharapan MLB spin here in the last 5-6 minutes. We got what has transpired in the hot stove and what you're expecting the next few days.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I posted a thing on my Twitter feed yesterday at Sports BK and said, what is the best offseason? Is it the NFL offseason? Is it the college football offseason? Is it the NBA offseason? Or is it the MLB? Baseball.
MLB.
Baseball, it's just fun. And I don't know why. It always has been. It always will be. Because the speculation is it's freezing outside in most of the places. We're talking about baseball, bro. And then we're talking about how big of an impact, what the lineup might look like. It's fun. We're also talking about guys pitching with Lefty Grove, getting $43 million a year. And Verlander, like our buddy says, with a V. He's going to pitch 1-2 Max Scherzer. That's as good as anybody, right? They still can't hit the ball. Like, go get a bat. That's why. Is there a move behind a move? Are they going to get Judge too and just unload the bank? Like, is there no limit? I think that's the strange thing about, MLB is they have I don't know what the rules are with the salary. Like, you'd have to have a floor, but you have a ceiling. There's a tax. Doesn't matter for those teams. Turner going to Phillies. I'm very excited. We have dear friends, Newbie being one of them, who was he's 30 years old, never really liked baseball, got caught up in it this year. He's all in with the baseball. The first text I get yesterday, after the second text I get, was from someone, and then the second one was from Newbie, being excited that they got Turner to play shortstop, which is great. I hope that means they move my buddy Bryson Stott to second, because Segura's a free agent. So hopefully that means Bryson plays second, or Turner plays some second and Bryson plays short. Either way, I hope it means something future-wise for Bryson, because, when you're friends with somebody who plays in the big leagues, it's just kind of cool. And, we watched him play at UNLV. I worked with his brother in the book. I mean, we sat with their family at the last UNLV game. It's just fun to share in that a little bit of experience. Man, Houston, they went and got Abreu. Like, they're the favorite. They're still the favorite. can somebody just beat the damn Astros? Like, I can't take another year of Mattress Mac and flaunting around, flying around, betting this Astros team and all this other stuff. I can't do it. Can't do it, JD. And then, your Red Sox. It's hard being a Pirates fan because they don't do anything in the off season. So I look at all these other teams and like your Red Sox, they're going to let Xander go. They're just going to let him walk. And it's at the expense of signing Devers, which again, Devers is awesome. Generational player, hitter, ridiculous. Getting better with the defense for sure. You got to have a middle in baseball to win. You have to have a middle. Second, short, center field, and a catcher. You start with that, you can build the rest. Baseball's changing, brother. Baseball's changing.
We had to sit through the Mookie for a couple of years, and Mookie, they said, quote unquote, we offered the same money for Mookie, and he just wanted to go elsewhere. Some of these guys wanted to test the free agent market.
Yeah.
You have to make a decision whether we're going to let him go and get nothing or try to get something in return. And the funny thing is, the first initial trade is we had the flamethrower back there, Gastrol, and the medicals on the Red Sox side said, no, we don't like what we saw. So they had to change it up. They got Jeter Downs, they got Verdugo, and they got an arm in there. Well, 3 weeks later, Gastrol's from 101, and I'm just like, oh my God, what did you guys do? Now they're stuck here because they already made their move last year, Dave. They already told the world what was happening with Bogarts when they spent $140 million. They brought Story in. Hey, we'll let Trevor play second base. That's our route when we let Xander go, unless he takes our price, because our main concern is Devers then.
Right. Yeah, there's so many things that go on, and I've been to the winter meetings a couple times, like gone and like look for a job when I was a young kid out of college, and then gone and tried to talk to people and do some networking. And it's interesting. It's a different type of vibe. I much prefer it from the book standpoint or looking at it from this angle. Nothing that happens really moves odds, but the Phillies got knocked down a couple notches, odds wise. They were about 15-1 or about 12-1 now. The Mets were, I don't know, 10 or 11-1, and somebody just massages them down to 9-1 or 8-1 or something like that with that news yesterday. We'll be out looking for exactas again, like we did this past season. That was a fun score, to lock in some positions on some things that happen. So we'll see what we can do. I think as a baseball fan, we know it's Astros, Dodgers, right? And then it's, Mets, Yankees, because it's always New York, Braves, Phillies. I mean, those are the top teams. It's after that trying to see, what is San Diego going to do?
Xander Bogarts.
Ooh, okay. What is Seattle going to do? There's somebody going there. There's always somebody going to the Cardinals. Maybe the Rays, they don't sign anybody, but they sign people that all of a sudden they win 92 games every year and make the playoffs. I mean, it's always those under-tier teams where, like I'd be sitting in a book on an afternoon like today, and somebody would come in and go, what do you have the San Francisco Giants to win the World Series? We have 40-1 or 50-1. Why? I'd like to bet it for 1,000 or 2,000. And you're like, oh, okay, sure. And then the next day or later that day, you hear Aaron Judge signed with the Giants. You're like, okay, got me. That's what you're doing when you're talking about baseball in December in the book.
I can't thank you enough. The scroll is always running here, Dave. Please, if you're not following, go follow him at Sportsbook Consig on Twitter, at Cash Consideration Show, at Bostonian versus the Book, at Props US. Dave, I always give the stage to you. Tell them where, everywhere. I mean, you're on so many places. I don't have enough keys to keep the scroller going. So
It's
I just
insane.
condensed it.
It's ridiculous. The pace we're keeping up is stupid, and it's going to change at some point when somebody comes with the right bag at the right time with the right people, and then we can just even do more with less, if you know what I mean. Because we got a producer, you know, and for those of you that don't know, the kid's name is Kiefer, and you know, between JD and BTB and all these other people, we got a lot of things going on daily right now, every day, Monday through Friday, at least for the month of December. I'm doing a show called Bostonia versus the Book. It's available on YouTube. It's available on Props YouTube channel. Search Bostonia versus the Book. Go to my Twitter feed at SportsBK. You can see the clips. Boston versus the Book on Twitter. You can watch the show live there. Also, every day, Monday through Friday, from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock Pacific. That's 7 to 10 East. I'm on Sports Grid TV with Gabe Morency, Cam Stewart, and then Dubs Anderson and Joe Ranieri. JD's been on that show a couple times. He should be on it more going forward. In between, you know, like today, I'll be on Wager Talk TV in 15 minutes. They go live there, and where Wager Talk does that. Tomorrow, I'm doing a show in Washington, D.C. You know, and I don't always put everything on my Twitter because who wants to cloud up that shit with all these appearances that ain't nobody going to watch anyway? So we do that. And then every single week, I got my own personal stuff. It's Cash Considerations Podcast. JD was on it 2 weeks ago. The show's available on our YouTube channel, Cash Considerations Podcast. Hit the subscribe button. You never miss nothing. You get it audio on all the different platforms, and you get it video right there. Also, 8 in the Box with my other guy, Brad Howe, who's a true, you know, friend and professional, and he does shows in West Virginia, college football specialist, college basketball connoisseur. We're available every day or every week as well. It's called 8 in the Box. It's Cash Considerations production, and we do that. And that's it, man. There's nothing else. I got nothing else for you except I got one question. What are you doing on January 2nd?
I have no plans. What would you like to be doing on January 2nd?
I'm just putting it out there that if you've never been to the Rose Bowl, okay, Penn State is playing in the Rose Bowl against Utah. Now, I know it's a long trip. I know it's a thing, but if you have a bucket list thing, if you want to go or whatever, I'll pick you up at the airport there. That's fine. I'm planning on going. As of right now, I might be going by myself. I'm just letting you know, to let the listeners know, if you're going to be there or in that part of the country or that part of January 2nd is a Monday. Penn State's playing in a Rose Bowl against Utah. Somehow small favorites or small dogs, rightly so. Utah's probably going to win. Let's keep that one in our back pocket for now. But just putting it out there. If anybody wants to join us or fund the trip, anybody wants to bring a producer, we'll shoot content that we can use for days. Might not be a bad move. I'm just saying, I'm not saying. I love you dearly, Jeffrey. I got to go.
All right. The one and only Dave Sharapan at Sportsbook Consig. Myself, Jeff Dawson, EDC Sports Invest. Thank you. At 3:30, Ron at A Sports, live from LA. We're going to go over the Final Four. We're going to talk some NFL. And then that's at 3:30. And at 4:30, the closing bell with Southside Riley in Chicago. Get you caught up to speed on what's going on in today's market. We can't thank you enough. Go follow this guy, Dave Sharapan at Sportsbook Consigs, and we'll see you soon.